Hello, world. This is Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. And I'm going to work on part two with you of the Candace Owens saga and her meeting with Erika Kirk. This is very interesting because she said that they met for 4.5 hours. And when I share with you, I'm only going to share part of that conversation according to Candace's version of it. And I don't know whether Erika Kirk did a version of their 4.5 hour meeting or not. However, Candace did. And I'm only going to share a small portion of it. And then I will give you some highlights of it, the rest of it. And if you'd like to go and watch it, I will put the link down below and you can go and watch it at your leisure because I do not want to spend over an hour because it was about an hour and 14 minutes, and I do not wish to spend that much time sharing with you the video that she did, the podcast. So, again, Louise Hicks here. Please share, please like, please give it a thumbs up, and by all means, leave your comments because I'd like to know what you have to say if you choose to go and watch that entire video. Leave your comments, but I will give you a little bit of it from the beginning, and then I'll give you some highlights and talk about it. So let me go ahead and share it with you, and then I will give you some highlights. And again, Louise Hicks, please make sure you share and like the video. And by all means, I'd like to thank all of my subscribers, my supporters. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe because there's more to come. And the reason that I decided to do this podcast was because I wanted to elevate my people, support and elevate my people to a higher level of consciousness because we are at the bottom economically. And we need to share knowledge, share information, support one another, come together, love one another. And that's what my podcast is all about, sharing knowledge because we are perishing for lack of knowledge. And here we go. Let me go ahead and share this with you. Let me open it up. And here we go. I'm only going to share a small portion. Like I said, it's about an hour and 14 minutes, and you can go and watch it.
Okay, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody back at home. Happy Hanukkah to our greatest friends and allies. And, this is a good time to mention that Israel does have a right to defend itself. Tucker Carlson is Adolf Hitler, and TikTok does need to be purchased by the Mossad. It's just how I'm feeling today. I am not different. Maybe you are different. Welcome back to Candace. Okay, you guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. We had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Well, Erika said, stop. And then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like, as they just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happened. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West. I never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized I can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh, yes, Kanye, that I get this. Okay. Nobody is changing their mind anything. How ridiculous would it have been if I'm doing all of this, investigating, asking all of these questions, and then Erika Kirk offers to answer some of these questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. I can't betray the people. I don't want any answers to the questions. I just want to ask them. No, this is the entire reason we are doing this. We've been looking at the situation going, why can't Turning Point USA just answer basic questions? And I can tell you guys that yesterday, for 4 hours and 30 minutes. There were no rules. They said you can ask us any question that you want, anything that's on your mind, which I appreciated. And some of you guys are thinking, who is they? Who is they? It's the Jews, obviously. Just kidding. It's Justin Strife. Justin Strife was in the room. It was just Justin Strife and Erika. George joined me just for the beginning portion of the conversation because he had that thing going on that I told you on the 15th all day. He was in a conference. And then I brought my cousin Mia, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing here. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table, it was really just the four of us until George left. And I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room. I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erika's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too. It was a lot. There's a lot going on, okay? And the conversation started with Justin Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erika was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with obviously a bit of a fever pitch, what I tweeted, that it was a God-forsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually, when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly aimed at me. And they've teased the interview. It's like aimed at me, but they never say my name. And that to me felt like it was the first, the first bit of mud that was slung. Their answer for that was, hey, that was a really crazy time. A new system had to be put into place. And by no means did Erika give any person the authority to go out and say that the Catholicism thing was a lie. It kind of turned into this big thing. Whatever. Okay, that kind of obviously was not the meat of the reason that we wanted to sit down. I will say I was immediately refreshed by the fact that one of the first things that Erika did was she owned the lies, or rather, I guess they would cage it as miscommunications that were coming from various people at the company. Like, look, this is a company with 650 people that are employed. Mm-hmm. Everybody at this time is exceedingly emotional and they are communicating. And no matter what somebody says on Twitter, they assume that this communication has come down from management, and that's not always a circumstance. But they owned right away, which felt great, that if you guys recall, Erika sat down with Glenn Beck. I actually missed this portion because I didn't get to watch the interview in its entirety, and we were pulling clips because a lot was coming out very quickly. But there was a portion that was going around that was viral, and it was Erika saying that she had Charlie's phone and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before saying that he thought that they were going to kill him. And that obviously reflected poorly on me, because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people the night before. And then I went on Jimmy Dore on Friday, Jimmy Dore's show, and I clarified. I said, Andrew Colvett told me specifically that he was one of the people that received this text message. So I got that first person. I didn't get that from a source. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett. And then somebody who had access to Dan Flood's communications said that Dan Flood similarly received a text message. They owned that right away and explained. Erika said that she has Charlie's phone. She's looking at his iMessages, and it turns out that he, like everybody else, communicates on Signal. He communicates on Telegram, and that when she heard me say that, they then went and looked, and yes, that what I said was true. Andrew Colbert received a message the night before, and Dan Flood received a message the night before. Now, they asked me if I had actually like a concrete a copy of what Dan Flood got the night before, and I said no. Somebody told me what it said, which was almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who they were, that he was referring to were, but they clarified that the message that Dan Flood received said the left is going to kill me. So I can't confirm that one way or the other. I have to trust them on that because I did not see that concrete message. I was told that it said they. Now,
Okay.
Obviously,
excuse me. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to share any more of it. That's about almost 8 minutes into it. And I'm going and speak on the rest of it because basically, as you can see, she's pretty much just ranting. It's basically a he said, she said, and Candace has been on this, whatever you would call it, conspiracy theory, investigative reporting on who killed Charlie Kirk. She does not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. She believes it's an undercover that somebody is covering up. And she believes some of the people in Turning Point, USA, knows about the cover up, according to what she has been stating herself. And I'm only stating what she's been saying because, to tell you the truth, I've had enough of it. And I'm not going to do any more podcast about Erika, Charlie, Candace. I'm done. It's exhausting. And I don't have the time. And I hope you don't have the time and energy to share, particularly us as Black people. We have bigger fish to fry than to be running around with Candace Owens trying to figure out who really killed Charlie Kirk. It's unfortunate what happened to him. Definitely, nobody deserves to be shot and killed, as I've stated in the part one. And this is part two. Again, I'm louisehicks, your host here. And my podcast was started to elevate our people to a higher level of consciousness because Candace Owens has been poison to Black people. That's how she got all of her views. She got her subscribers and so forth, because all she did was spew negativity about Black people when she first started. And she's only about, I guess, 35 or 36. She's the same age as my daughter, actually, because I'm 75. I've been around a long time. And I know a game and a money bag when I see one. And she has over 5 million subscribers, and she gets a lot of views, of course, because she was starting out just nothing but negativity about us as Black people, as if Black people have not contributed anything to this country. And we know better. Black people have contributed, built this country, actually, on their backs through all kinds of atrocities. However, Candace Owens has done nothing but spew poison until she got about Black people, until she started talking about the French woman being born a man. And then once Charlie Kirk was killed, who was very divisive, once I found out who he was, I didn't even pay any attention to anything he was talking about. She jumped on this investigative reported work because she says he's her besties. So what? Who cares? I don't care about Charlie Kirk being her besties. And I don't really care about what she's doing right now because, as far as I'm concerned, it's a money bag. And let me share something else with you here because Candace Owens has, give me a minute here. Let me share this. She has been out here talking forever and ever. And check this out here. For one, I see this as nothing but all about the money. Of course, Erika Kirk met her in, what did she meet her? In Tennessee. It's right here. I put this together here. She met her in Tennessee, and it was supposed to be the Tennessee SHOWDOWN. However, it was nothing. It was an hour and a half podcast that she did. And that's why I decided, I told you I would do a part two, because I wanted to see, I was curious as to what this 4.5 meeting was about. Based on what Candace Owens shared in this hour and 14 minutes, which the last part of it, she was basically promoting buying some about some mortgages and ordering stuff because of the holidays and so forth. And I'll be doing a podcast coming up about the holidays and how we should be spending our money and investing in ourselves. Excuse me. But anyhow, uh, my thing was, it was supposed to be a Tennessee showdown, or was it all about the money? And I'm going to tell you my thoughts. It was all about the money, because you heard her talking about this timeline and who called him. He said, she said, and she talked about who was there. And I'm not going to repeat that because you heard her say who was there. She talked about the lie, that she was not lying, and Erika didn't know who said what, who text Charlie about he might be killed. And she went on to talk about some Egyptian planes, and then she went on to talk about a timeline of the actual killing, and Tyler Robinson, how he could not have been the killer alone. There were others involved, and she feels that Turning Point USA is covering up because there were others involved. And there may be, I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I am really not concerned about it, because Turning Point USA did nothing but spew negativity about Black people, including Charlie Kirk, as if Black people have been nothing but negative people in this country and haven't contributed anything, how he was afraid. And Candace was assistant, she was an assistant, accomplished to it. If you saw a Black pilot, what would you think? They're not qualified, and just all kind of stuff. And like she said, the way she was acting here, doing all of this, I mean, I don't know whether she's has a sound mind, but I know she's very manipulative. That I can see how she does her manipulation to make money. And I mean, I don't have anything against people making money. That's nothing wrong. But however, if you're making money off of negativity on your people, I find that disturbing. Having been around for 75, just about shy of 2 months of being 75, I can assure you that she has spewed some highly negative things, but it's never in balance. She doesn't balance out what she's talking about. Of course, Black people, some of us have inappropriate behaviors. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that, and he is very, very much uh, educated and knowledgeable, and has done a lot of research, written a lot of books. One of the most famous one that I read back in the 90s, Black Labor, White Wealth. And I don't know whether Candace has ever read it, but if she hasn't, she should. And Erika Kirk as well. And I wish Charlie had had an opportunity to read some of Dr. Claude Anderson's books, because it would have opened up their eyes, because I don't see anything positive in terms of us as Black people coming out of Turning Point USA. And as to what my thoughts are, it was all about the money. And let's see, what else did she talk about? Because I wrote some things down as to what my thoughts were. She talked about, let me see here, let me tell you. Some of the other things she talked about was, she believes that the Zionists were controlling the media. She talked about that. She talked about the security team who was lying about she using the same security team that Charlie Kirk used. And she just went on rambling. And it was basically, he said, she said. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it was a waste of my time to sit and watch her rant for an hour and 14 minutes and didn't say anything about what went on in the meeting. I guess that's why they didn't have any cameras. It wasn't live streamed, because it was something that they came to a conclusion on. We don't know whether they sat for 1 hour just uh, talking about nothing. It was not productive from what she has disclosed so far. Nothing productive came out of the meeting, according to what she sat there and talked about for an hour and maybe 5 or 10 minutes, because the rest of it was about promotions of herself and telling you about buying this and buying that. And we need to be spending our money as Black people on elevating ourselves and not go out and spend a bunch of money up during the holidays elevating somebody else. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Tennessee Showdown was all about the money, because she has lots and lots of subscribers. And when you have that many subscribers, that many views, you are going to make lots of money. And also, I did a podcast on her when she was on the Breakfast Club. And in fact, I got over 2,000 views on that particular podcast, because when she was on the Breakfast Club, she didn't say anything. She didn't, I mean, it was all about how she ended, really, with all she cared about was her family. And she's self-serving and she puts stuff out there. I don't think she has a lot of Black followers. I think a lot of her followers are probably those mega people. And that's fine. People have a right, well, supposedly we have freedom of speech, but we know that's not all true either. Because I know some of my podcasts, when I was doing it back in California with my son, Aim to Purpose, the radio show, some of our stuff was censored, and we had people from all over the world. We had doctors, lawyers, all ethnicities, and some were well-renowned people that were on our podcast. And YouTube censored some of it and took it down, saying it was misinformation. And some of these were, and for an example, I had this white doctor on who had given some information about, I think it was the Zika virus, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And they took it down, said it was misinformation. And this is a medical doctor with multiple years, a white medical doctor with multiple years of experience. And they took it down. And it's just ridiculous how they say we have freedom of speech, but we know that if you go against the grain, that you do not have freedom of speech here in America, not on some of these platforms. And that's just how it is. So you have to be very careful what you say and how you say it. And she has, over the years, gained all of these subscribers and viewers because of how she talked about us as Black people, as if we are a bunch of idiots. And unfortunately, she gained a whole bunch of subscribers. And these were people, obviously, that were very bigoted, very racist. And some Black people jumped on her bandwagon. Not that many, I don't think. And now she has over 5 million subscribers. And that's all good and dandy. However, she has jumped on a different bandwagon now. And when she got fired, we already knew that was coming once she started speaking out and saying what she was saying back then. But anyhow, that's about all I have to say about it. And if you'd like to see this, he said, she said, and stuff that you've already heard, really. So if that's how that 4.5 hour meeting went, we'll never know, because there were no cameras. There was only the people that she said were present, and you can have those people to say anything that you want them to say. We will never know what happened. And from what she said, it's a waste of time to watch that podcast that she did with that showdown in Tennessee that was nothing but a money grab. It was all about the money. And I believe in speaking up and speaking out, because I always tell you, for God has 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And that word power means a lot. And that word love means a lot. However, you see, power comes before love, because If you don't have any power, it makes it difficult for you to love. And our goal should be to connect the dots, unify, love one another, and support one another. Connect those dots, educate one another, know our history, teach our children our history, learn how to become financially savvy, know where we're spending our money. Let our money circulate within our community before it goes out of our community. That's what everybody else does. However, we are at the bottom economically, and it's time for us to come together, and we are coming together. And I'm going to say this because we as Black people need to stop wasting a lot of our time listening to a lot of this negativity that's on the internet, where these people, not all, because there are some very, very outstanding young people now that I am very proud of, that's that's imparting positivity, positive information. And I'm happy to see young people out here doing this, because we need more. And we need more of our older people with the wisdom that have gone through some things, like myself at 75. I may as well say, if God's willing, and I see March 4th, I will be 75. And I've read a lot. I do a lot of due diligence. I'm an author. I have a bachelor's in social work. And I have been in this system for years, the healthcare system. It's broken. I have experienced it due to my son, that's 44 now, having cancer at 14. So I know how broken this system is. And I worked in it for 32 years in California, the county of Los Angeles. So I'm telling you, I have seen so much, I've experienced so much. And when somebody says there is no racism in America, I beg to differ with it. And I know Candace Owens is one of those. And I'll be talking more about some of those things, because I'm going to be doing another podcast about, has to do more with reparations, because that's a debt, not a handout. And with that said, again, I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. Please, again, share this video, give it a like, thumbs up, and by all means, leave your comments. I would like to know what you have to say. And if you want to spend an hour and 14 minutes watching that nothing video podcast that Candace Owens did, because nothing came out of it that I can see. No, I don't know what their aim was. She started out with the gentleman introducing them and this and that, and it was just a rant as far as I'm concerned. He said, she said, and stuff that she had already said in previous podcasts. And she's on this thing that Tyler Robinson did not act alone in this, and she believes the government was involved in it. I mean, she said all kinds of things. So you be the judge of it, and by all means, go ahead and check it out if you'd like. I'll put the link in here so you can see it. And with that said, again, I'm Louise Hicks, your host. I always tell you, your power lies within you. Let it loose, because your destiny is your command. And I will see you in the next video. Much love.